Have you ever introduced yourself to somebody? Hey, I'm Bryce. Nice to meet you. And then they say their name. Hey, I'm John. And before you know it, you've already forgotten what their name is. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Mindful Gains. I'm Bryce. And in this video, I want to talk about mindful living and what it is. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First, we need to talk about mindfulness. What does that mean? Mindfulness is being aware of the present moment. It's being aware of your thinking, being aware of how you feel, all in the present moment, not being pulled into the future or not being mentally handcuffed to the past. Both of those can cause a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression in our lives. So how does that translate to how we live our lives mindfully? So mindful living may mean different things to different people. What it means to me is living life in the present moment. Now, I used to be a real big overthinker. I was always worried about the future, or I dwelled on the past quite a bit. And I had a lot of trouble learning how to be here right now where my feet are. Okay, remember that. Be where your feet are. I struggled with that a lot in my life. So once I realized I was struggling with that, I started implementing practices like meditation, which allowed me to start to recognize my thinking and be able to bring myself back to the present moment over the course of some time. This didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen over a week. It took a lot of practice. Being able to bring myself back to the present moment has been a very helpful skill that I've applied to my life. Now, let me ask you, have you ever introduced yourself to somebody? Hey, I'm Bryce. Nice to meet you. And then they say their name. Hey, I'm John. And before you know it, you've already forgotten what their name is. Now, that's an example of being on mental autopilot. You're not in the present moment. You're just so used to saying something and expecting a response that we're not in the actual present moment. And a lot of people deal with that, like are not good at remembering people's names. And it's usually because they're not able to remain present. They introduce themselves, and before you know it, they're already thinking about what they got to do later on in the day or what they've done earlier in the day. It's one of those two things. Another example is you ever get in your car in the morning, you're driving to work, and before you know it, you're already at work. It's like, how did I even get here? It's like in the blink of an eye, you were there. It's being on autopilot. You're so used to doing things that you can do it unconsciously. You're just driving along, listening to your music, and now I'm at work. I didn't even remember the traffic lights that I went through, the cars that I saw next to me. I wasn't in the present moment. I was somewhere else. And before I knew it, I ended up at work or wherever you're headed to. So those are just a couple of examples of not being able to remain present. Now, how can we learn to become more present? Meditation was very helpful for me. It's the practice of watching your thoughts and experiencing your emotions and stuff like that, just recognizing them, acknowledging them, and not being pulled out of the present moment. Now, practicing that translates into everyday life the more that you do it. You'll be talking to somebody and you might feel yourself get pulled away into your grocery list or what you have to do for your kids. But the more you're practicing that meditation and that mindfulness, you'll actually start to realize that you're being pulled away out of the moment. And then you can bring yourself back to it just like you would if you were meditating. I know it sounds super confusing and I might have lost you there, but it's ultimately a skill that has to be practiced and cultivated over time so that we can learn to remain present in everything that we're doing. People that we're talking to, the job that we're doing, even eating, mindfully eating, so it's a practice that takes time. So why does this even benefit us? What's the point of living in the present moment? Why is it such a good thing? So living in the present moment really allows us to experience the beauty in the moment. You're not being distracted mentally. You're able to experience that moment in its entirety, in its fullness, in its richness. And that's the beauty of life. It's not about constantly worrying about things that haven't happened yet or dwelling on things that have happened in the past. Don't get me wrong. Some of us have dealt with some really traumatic and trying times in our past. But the more that we dwell on those things, we're not able to get into the present moment, the more that those past things are going to keep a hold on us mentally, which ultimately leads to a physical hold on us. So it's all connected here. For me, mindful living means to live in the present moment. Now, don't even get me started on, sex and mindful sex and how being present is a beautiful thing. I promise you. You are in the moment. You're not thinking about other things. You were there with your partner in all of its richness. So mindfulness is a beautiful thing once we learn how to apply it. And meditation is just one of the practices that allow us to strengthen our mindfulness practice, if that makes sense. I know this stuff is real deep, so hopefully you're still with me. Mindfulness is really powerful. And once you're able to learn how to put your awareness on the present moment or any given situation that you may be in, you'll understand what I'm talking about and understand how not being so bombarded with all these mental distractions, it's a great feeling. There's a ton of resources out there that can help you educate yourself a bit more on these practices that I'm talking about. But yeah, mindful living, to me, it means to live in the present moment and to live in the present moment on purpose. I'm intentionally doing it. I'm consciously doing it. And I'm not living for the moment. I'm living in the moment. So I just wanted to make this quick video and hopefully it's provided you with some value. And if it did, be sure to check out one of my other videos. I think you'll enjoy them. All right, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out.